What is happening, guys? Nick the Informative Fisherman here. I just got my brand new LTB box in the mail, and right away, I know what you're thinking. Not many people can pull off camo and gray, and you're right. So let's look under the hood. Now this is the September Bass XL box, in case you're wondering. Boom. Right away. Castaic, medium diving crankbait right there. Not too shabby. Cabin Creek's little 4-inch lizards. Finesse season's coming up in the winter. Definitely come in handy. Bass Crasher's little soft plastic frog. These are probably honestly one of the most underrated style of baits, where you hook the hook in a little plastic frog and slow retrieve it across the surface. A lot of people use hollow belly only, but a lot of the time when conditions get slick, calm, and tough, those can outfish those hollow bellies. Smart baits. This looks like a swim baits slash creature bait type of tail, but it doesn't really have a boot tail, so you don't retrieve it and you don't just like swim it. It's not going to kick. It's more like a goby. You're going to want to drag that across the bottom, and it has those ridges in it just like a Kitech style swim bait, which is going to put off some real subtle vibration action in the water, which is going to get you bites on those colder, tougher condition days where you have to drag a bait real slow, especially in the later fall, early winter, when those shads start to die off, depending on where you live. When that water hits the upper 40s, that could be a fantastic bait because it kind of looks like a shad skimming along the bottom to get chomped. Let's move on to some hard baits. Right here I see the Vicious Topwater. This is a spook style bait. They're calling it, it's got katana hooks. This is made by Vicious. Now, spook style bait like this is going to work fantastic in the fall when your fish start chasing the bait fish into the creeks. The bass are going to come up shallow. They're going to be in bigger schools. They're going to start roaming stuff down. You walk the dog style action with that bait right there. You're going to get some big, bad, largemouth, smallmouth, and spotted bass all chomping that puppy right there. Some must-add 2-aught hooks for you guys don't know about power shotting with an EWG, a smaller hook. Now, power shotting is like a drop shot style technique with a little heavier line, like 8 to 10 pound line, and use an EWG style hook. That way you can flip it into a bush, shake it in there, and hook those fish still with a drop shot, where you wouldn't run like a little tiny exposed hook in open water or over the top of the rock. So when I say power shotting, that just means a heavier duty version of drop shotting. Next, the Balsa Minnow Twin Spin. Now this is a prop bait. Let me take this bad boy, show you out. I'm pretty stoked to see this style of bait in the box. Now, originally back in the day, there was a bait called the Devil's Horse. And this is, instead of like walking the dog, a lot of the time you get into these shallower lakes to where a walk the dog style bait, they tend to miss, or it's shallow and dirty, to where you want a straight retrieve, but a lot of the time on those days where you're going to work a top water that's a little bit windier, that works. But on those days where it's slick calm, you either want to throw like a popper or a style of bait like this, a prop bait. You just pop it down, tip down, and these double props are going to spin. Try to hook myself right there. Are going to spin, and you could stop it, and it's just going to sit right there on the surface. Pop, stop, and stop. Creates two different little bubble trails coming off the sides. A lot of interesting action. It's a bigger style bait, just sitting there. It's got that orange bottom right there. Probably, I would say, early fall, when your fish start transitioning. Basically, your summertime fish, where you were catching them, you notice that started to change. Now you're going to start looking for those areas where those bait fish are going to be moving. This is a perfect bait if you get out there in the morning and it's slick calm. Instead of throwing like a popper, if you wanted to cover some water, that style bait right there is going to get you some monster bites. For those of you who don't know, these style of baits are responsible for tons and tons of records, and people don't even know about it. Look up the Devil's Horse, and this looks even better than that puppy, so I can't wait to break her in. All right, guys, so let's talk rigging. For the Bass Crasher, the soft plastic frog right here, that 2-aught must-add hook that they put in there is going to work great for you. But what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to add a little bit of weight. So probably a 1/16 ounce or a 3/16 ounce bullet weight in front of that frog with a little bobber stop, in front of it. It's going to keep that weight there so you can cast at a far distance. Remember, it's going to sink. That's actually one of the benefits of this little style frog, that it does sink. But as long as you reel it fast, those little legs are going to flap on top. And then if you do miss a blow up, if a bass swirls at it or you miss, just pause, hesitate, and that frog is going to dive down. Watch your line real close, and a lot of the time they're going to grab it once it dives down. But play around with your weight until you feel what's comfortable for you to cast long range and keep that bait on top. So don't be afraid to experiment with different baits. For the cast stake, medium diving crankbait right here. Now, you don't need to know about hooks, but what you do need to know about is a rod that's going to throw a crankbait far. So what I did is I made it easy for you guys. I took my rod company sticks right here, and this is the hybrid pair. This is a spinning rod designed to throw all things in regards to spinning, and this is a bait casting rod designed to throw all things in regards to bait casting. If you're a bank fisherman or a new bass fisherman, these are the very first two rods you should ever own coming out of the gate. Now I want to talk about the line that I put on here. This is 12-pound P-line CXX, and on the spinning rod I'm using 6-pound tactical fluorocarbon. This is a more limp fluorocarbon, which is great on spinning reels. So this crankbait right here I'm going to throw on my hybrid casting rod with that 12-pound CXX. That's right about the line diameter that you're going to want to fish most crankbaits on, and it's very versatile. So let's jump over to the smart baits right here. This 4-inch goby style bait, you're basically going to want to use the same setup that you had your frog on there. The only difference is you're going to cast this out, let it get to the bottom, and you're going to slowly drag it. Now, if you're looking for range, you can do both of these on the spinning rod. If they're around heavy cover and you need to hoist them out, you can still do both of these on the bait casting setup. So keep that in mind. If you're going for more finesse with that lighter line and more subtle, you're going to get more bites, especially subsurface, not necessarily on top water. But if you're on top water, that bait, the bigger line's not going to matter. You're going to get just as many fish, but you can wrench them in easier. Subsurface, around heavier cover, you want to use the bait caster. Around lighter cover, looking for more bites or fishing deeper, you're going to want to use a spinning setup. Let's jump over to the 4-inch lizard. This is where you're going to want to do a drop shot setup on something like a size 1 or a size 2 drop shot hook. I like the Mustad Ultra Point, the double wide drop shot hook, and I like to use a 3/16 ounce drop shot weight. 9 times out of 10, they're very, very versatile. Now we're going to come over to the Minnow Twin Spin. That's that Bagley prop bait style right there. You're going to definitely want to throw that on that Sticks hybrid. Doesn't matter what rod you use, as long as it's a medium power. I like the 7-foot. I like a moderate fast taper. These are treble hooks on these baits. When they come up and swipe it and grab it, you need a rod that's willing to give to them. I designed this rod to be super versatile just for that. You can also throw that spook style setup right there by Vicious on that exact same setup. So with these two rods right here and the two lines I told you about, you can fish everything I just showed you. They're deadly versatile. These baits right here are going to catch them really well in the fall, and a lot of these are going to convert over to that wintertime bite for you at the same time. And remember guys, not everybody always receives the exact same stuff. While supplies last sort of thing, or if you just sign up, we send you an introductory box. So don't be upset if you didn't get all the exact same baits. But if you did, hopefully this information helped you out. We greatly appreciate you watching here at Lucky Tackle Box. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all those social media channels. We're there. Best of fishing, guys, and I hope you catch a fatty. Thanks for watching.